distinguished guests, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome and thank you for joining us today for this side event organized by the Secretariat of the International Plant Protection Convention, or IPCC, on the importance of plant health and the role of youth in transforming our agri-food systems. I would like to take on this occasion to actually thank very much the World Food Forum for hosting this event, and also congratulate the organizers for a much needed forum for young people on these topics. Today's event is also somehow the result of a very positive collaboration that took place during the International Year of Plant Health, or IYPH 2020, whose closing ceremony actually just happened on 1st July this year. That was extended due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are glad that this collaboration is continuing, and I'm sure it will bear many more fruits. It was indeed a very important advocacy event for the whole plant health community, and we really look forward to strengthening ties both in-house in FAO and with external partners on advancing the momentum to show the importance of plant health for our lives. As many of you know, healthy plants are essential to life on this planet. They provide 80% of the food we eat and the oxygen we breathe, and they're also the main source of income for many farmers, and particularly smallholders everywhere in the world. Yet, as you know, plants are at increasing risk due to the movement of pests and diseases, particularly due to trade, travel, and climate change, which increasingly threaten plant health. We have a very rich and diverse panel of speakers today who will approach this topic from various angles for a multifaceted dialogue on key topics such as youth engagement, plant health, and agri-food systems. As you know, FAO has approved through its members a new strategic framework that is all oriented towards the transformation of agri-food systems, and plant health has a key role to play into that. So today we will hear from Ambassador Mario ARVELO, who's a representative of the Dominican Republic to FAO, IFAD, and the World Food Program, followed by Ms. Mariangela Ciampitti, who's the responsible officer of the Regional Phytosanitary Service of the region Lombardia in Italy, and Ms. Victoria Valencia, who's, among other things, also the co-author of the Youth Declaration on Plant Health. We will then have the pleasure to have Mr. Aveti Nersisian, who's the IPCC officer in charge for daily matters, delivering closing remarks. So now, without further ado from my side, as a moderator, I would like to give the floor to His Excellency Mario ARVELO. So, Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mirko, for your introduction. I am extremely glad to be here. So I thank you. I thank the organizers and the audience. I believe that Ricardo, who has been organizing everything behind the scenes, has told me that most of the audience is comprised of youth. So I will be addressing my remarks to them. I am extremely honored to partake in this World Food Forum powered by Global Youth, and especially on a topic of such vital importance like Mirko has just mentioned. I know that Ms. Ciampitti and Ms. Valencia with Mr. Montuoris, Mirko's facilitation, will have a lot to say about youth engagement and the Youth Declaration from conceptual and technical standpoints. I will focus my brief remarks on the political approach to global governance, on the role of youth, on the role that youth needs to play on issues such as plant health. And it's a matter of not just production. We all read the conceptual note for this activity, and we are aware that upwards of 125%. The conceptual note actually speaks to the fact that all food production that is currently, the output of world food production is more than enough to satisfy the needs for all of humanity. And depending on who's counting, that comes up to 125%. Actually. So it's not a matter of producing more food, it's a matter of how that food is distributed. It's about where does it come from. And we also know that 4/5, that's 80% of all nutrients that humankind consumes, all that we ingest in every meal that we take, in the form of calories, all that energy comes from plants. For all the calories that are packed into animal products when we eat, say, meat or drink milk or any of the dairy products, cheese, yogurt, butter, eggs, and all animal products, they only make up about 1/5 of all calories. So plants are life, and plants need to be safe from diseases, and they need to be safe from pests. And when we say pests, we mean that there are others that are in competition with us humans for plants. There's all these organisms that we call pests. They only want to eat their share. But if we are going to be at the pinnacle of the food chain, if we are going to be providing food, nutritious food for all humans, then we need to defeat all these diseases that threaten the existence of plants themselves, so that we can take all those nutrients for ourselves. And so from a political standpoint, in terms of global governance, FAO, which is the United Nations Organization for Food and Agriculture, it houses the Secretariat, that is our co-host today, of the IPCC, that's the International Plant Protection Convention, which is this agreement that over 180 countries all over the world have signed on to in order to protect plants. Also, it is the seat, FAO, of the Commission on Phytosanitary Measures, again, where governments work together to look at science and agree on standards for sustainable agriculture, environmental protection, facilitating trade, all in the name of global food security and adequate nutrition. FAO is also the seat of an institution that is very close to my heart, and that is its headquarters, FAO, the CFS. Those letters stand for the Committee on World Food Security, which I had the honor to chair between 2017 and 19. And since then, the Dominican Republic has been a member of the Bureau. It is the foremost inclusive platform for governance and policy discussion on food security and nutrition the world over. And within the CFS, we have something in the UN, we love acronyms. We have the HLPE, and those letters stand for the High Level Panel of Experts. It is a bureau, the guiding bureau has 15 members, but it comprises over 2,000 academics the world over. We're talking about researchers and professors and writers on food security and nutrition. And the 16th report that came out just last year, sorry, it came out actually this year. I believe, if my memory serves me right, the 5th of July was the launch of the HLP report on promoting youth engagement and employment in agriculture and food systems. I had the honor of shepherding that process in 2018 and 19, and it was in October 2019 when the CFS gave the HLPE the instructions to come up with these recommendations. I will, of course, because of time, I cannot go into a lot of detail, but I will mention the 5 pillars of this report. One is to provide, the governments should provide an enabling environment for youth as agents of change in this realm of food security and nutrition. A second one is that governments should make sure that there are, through a number of policy options, better livelihoods. That means better jobs, quality jobs for youth working in food production. A third pillar is to increase access to property rights and financial resources. We all know that it is very difficult for the youth because they do not own property, because they are coming up and in the countryside. Imagine all of the obstacles, but there should be policy mechanisms in place so that the youth can have access to loans, financial resources, and property rights. A fourth pillar is that government should work in enhancing access to knowledge, education, and skills, because these are the basis for anything that we can and may accomplish in the future. Also, lastly, the fifth pillar from that HLPE report is that governments should promote sustainable innovation. And the basis for all recommendations emanating from the high-level panel of experts at the Committee on World Food Security is that the right to food is a fundamental human right. This was enshrined by the Universal Declaration in 1948. So the policy convergence process for developing guidelines, which is the next step after receiving the report from the high-level panel of experts, is currently ongoing. This is led by one of our most active ambassadors, that's Pio Venubst from Switzerland. And he's doing this with a horizon for approval of a set of voluntary guidelines on promoting youth involvement by October next year. So take this intervention of mine as a call to action. You, the youth participating in the activities this week, in this side event, you must engage and actively participate in this process as you are taking a command of this necessity that the world has, which is engaging with you and you with everyone involved in these issues. And of course, all of these activities, they build on the International Year of Plant Health, which was the 2020 year, and Mirko mentioned this in his introduction. That was extended to the 1st of July 2021, so that covered 18 months on account of activities that needed to be postponed because of the pandemic. So for the next week's CFS plenary, the CFS is meeting from 11 to 14 of this month, October, the Dominican Republic has registered 2 youth delegates. We believe that this is an important symbolic step, and not just symbolic, but also actionable. Last year, as far as I am aware, the Dominican Republic was the only country in the world that presented a youth delegate to the plenary. And now we have 2 high school seniors that will convey strong messages on the need to include young people in the global governance of food security and nutrition. So the world needs the young to play an active role. Because of the digital revolution of the last couple of decades, young people are at least as informed, and usually even better so, than their parents' generation. So access to information, even with all the shortcomings and pitfalls of inaccurate data that sometimes creeps in to the internet and the politically driven fake news. But even in spite of all that, the young have this tool to partake in analysis, in debate, and in decision-making more than ever in history. So to conclude, because I am just getting to my 10-minute mark, youth brings fresh knowledge. Youth brings innovative ideas, passion, commitment. And this is why the Dominican Republic, led by President Luis Abinader, one of the youngest leaders in Latin America and the Caribbean, and indeed in the whole world, is promoting youth involvement at all levels. And we are doing that from the Dominican mission to FAO, IFAD, and WFP. And we are accompanying this World Food Forum Week with all our might, so that we can open up these doors and these paths for youth to participate and to actually contribute to decision-making. Thank you, Mirko.
Thank you very much, Ambassador ARVELO, and thank you for especially your inspiring words, for recalling us about the importance of plant health and its role that it plays to achieve the SDGs, and also the FAO new strategic framework. Thank you, especially. I loved your reference to the need for us humans for pests to actually to compete with humans when it comes to plants. And this is certainly a reminder of the importance of keeping plants healthy by, just taking action with all those interesting and very call to action oriented messages that came from the International Year of Plant Health. But thank you especially for your reference to the political approach that has to be taken by policymakers and also youth in considering their engagement on plant health related issues. Thank you for making reference to the IPCC and CFS as important instruments that support the youth and may further engage the youth in their undertakings, and also the reference to the high-level panel of experts report that actually draws some very important suggestions and recommendations on how to engage the youth more in these processes. Thanks for mentioning the right to food as one important component of that approach. Now, moving on to the next speakers, I would like to introduce Ms. Mariangela Ciampitti, whom, as I mentioned earlier, is the responsible officer for the Phytosanitary Service of Region Lombardia. Obviously, Mariangela will speak from a technical viewpoint on the importance of plant health, but especially introduce us with the excellent initiatives undertaken by the Phytosanitary Service during the IYPH and beyond to promote the role of plant health amongst youth. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Mariangela for her presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mirko. And thank you for this opportunity to share our experience. I try to share my screen. Okay.
You can see it fine. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So our territory is in the north of Italy, and for years and years we experimented a very important damages from invasive alien plant pests. In particular, on agricultural crops as maize and rice, damaged by corn rootworm and the Gall's nematode. We experienced also a very important reduction of the fruit production by chestnut weevil and other pests from damaged ornamental plants. And in particular, we have to cut down thousands and thousands of plants to prevent the spread of longhorn beetles, Asian longhorn beetles, and citrus longhorn beetles in city parks and in private gardens. So very important problem due to the invasive alien plant pests. So during in 2015, Milan hosted the World Exposition. The title, the theme of the exposition was Feeding the Planet, Energy for Life. And we received the Milan plants from over the world. So we realized that there was a very high risk for the introduction of alien pests. And in that occasion, we implemented for the first time the EPO campaign, the European Plant Protection Organization campaign, Don't Risk It, to avoid the accidental introduction of alien pests. This is an awareness campaign for the people that enter in Milan. We realized also a video during all it was projected during all the time in Expo 2015. We use this material, this awareness material, also in the airport, in the metro station, in the train station. In particular, we focused also for the young people And we realized that some specific material to be avoided, to be available in the children park, so book for coloring and the other materials to involve also younger generation on a theme of plant health. As a legacy of this experience, very important for us, and we receive a very interest from young people. So we created an app for smartphone called the Phyto Detective. Through this app, this is a tool of a citizen science tool. All people, but in particular young people, can collaborate with us in the prevention of the accidental introduction of plant pests, but in particular also for the early detection of plant pests. And in this app, through this app, it's possible to receive information on 13 pests. There are more than 160 pictures and 20 maps. For example, during the last summer, more than 3,000 people downloaded this app, and we received and verified more than 1,000 sightings, so from young people in particular. In occasion of the International Year of Plant Health, we decided to shape culture on plant health. Culture, in our understanding, is everything that contributes to the intellectual and moral development of the individual and the acquisition of an awareness of his and her role in society. So our goal was and is to provide tools for acquiring knowledge and experience on plant health. So we planned and we implemented this important project. The title is Sample Plant Health, in collaboration with the Department for Education in Lombardy. We produce very original materials and proposals to develop the knowledge and stimulate young people, the young people's sense of responsibility. The plant health project is constituted from 3 different programs. The first program is for the younger student, called From Roots to Leaves, from 6 years to 10. The second one, Plants, a World All Around Us, for children from 11 to 13 years old of age. And the last one, Plants, a Journey to Discover and Protect Them, for the guys, the pupils till teenager till 18 years of age. The goals of this project, in particular, raise awareness of importance of plant health and the impacts. So not only economical impacts, but in particular environmental and social impacts. And fostering the desire of younger generation to become personally involved in protecting ecosystem, green spaces, so to play this role. The program for the younger student is focused on seed, and the message, especially to take care of seeds. And the message was that our health depends on plant health. And we realize some materials like puzzle, poster, special passports, and also a guide for the teachers. The second program was for the second round of students, creating, we pushed them to create a plant map, not only concretely, but also a conceptual itinerary to record the plants all around there, In particular, I have to remember that this project was carried out the last year during the COVID-19 pandemic. And in the north of Italy, the situation was very, very severe. And we have a very, very long period of lockdown, and there was not the possibility to go out, and so there was this program was also an occasion to travel, to discover the plants in the literature, the plants in the art, and also to reflect on the possibility for students to contribute for the achievement of SDGs. The last one is a focus on the travel, for the historical perspective, but also a travel for time, for space. We produced dynamic maps on crops and on pests, and it was an occasion to push young people to be protagonists and the bearers of innovation. You can see in this slide some results. We receive a very huge amount of works, of projects. More than 50 schools carry out the project on plant health. And you can see they experimented not only activity at school, but also in the field. And the first result was that all students, all teachers told us that they enjoyed in this project, they enjoyed to work on plant health. The second program was about the maps. You can see they report the plants at backyard in the school, and some herbarium, and was also the occasion to link with other environmental initiative, like the World Day. There is no going back. There is no more time. So to push them to reflect also with general environmental problems. The last one was for the teenagers. They worked a lot. We received a lot of videos, different videos, and I think that our message was very was accepted very well, because they reflect on new pests. You can see, for example, they focus on fall armyworm. That is a pest, emerging pest of global concern. Is not present yet in Italy, but they noted this pest. Also, they reflect on the possible biological control with parasitoids, and also they reflect to the innovative solution for the control pests in with less environmental impact. I think that the message reached the student, because this comment is the comment from one of the group of students realizing a project on Pupilla japonica. So I'll read, carrying out project on Japanese beetle. We have realized that plant health is very important. The new generation should focus on environmental sustainability by monitoring crops and by the use of biopesticides in order to manage the looming problem of alien pests. We have to find better solutions, such as introduction of natural antagonists in order to reduce their impact and avoid any change in biodiversity without negatively affecting the environment. So you can see that they are aware that they have to play an important role in the future, and also they are trying they are searching new solution, innovative solution to control alien pests. So I think this is a very important success. So in conclusion, how to support E.R.S.A.F? Providing evidence-based information. Also, if this information is not popular, for example, we have to told us that it's not possible. It's not really possible to carry out biological control. It's not. There is not currently a strategy for the biological control for all the pests, and we have also to told them that sometimes chemical substances are less toxic than natural substances, and other important information evidence-based. We have also to encouraging them to assess the impact of agri-food practices at the global level. We cannot close our eyes to the impact of food production in other countries, continents, and arriving on our table. We have to assess all the impacts, not only in our country. And we have to giving them the floor. So I asked the student winner of our contest, linked to the project, to send a message from young people from Italy to the other people around the world attending this forum. So I conclude my presentation reading this message. Plant health is a dear topic for young people. From plants we get food, oxygen, and they absorb the carbon dioxide. Now they are in danger. Deforestation, introduction of pests from other countries due to globalization, increase of greenhouse gases, disappearance of native species, loss of biodiversity. It is easy to realize that our life and the life of the planet are strictly connected to plants. If we don't do anything and we also harm them, we would damage ourselves too. So please not close our eyes in front of serious problems just because it's the easy way, but try to solve them together as a community. Be the change in the world. Student from school Luigi Castiglioni, Limbiate, Milan. That's all. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mariangela. Really inspiring story, and really thank you. It's really good to see how the public sector does have a role in this, and takes care about youth and their views and their commitment to action. So I really appreciated, highlighting the role that young people can actually play to sustain plant health, even in pest detection in some cases with citizen science, and also their role in sharing the importance of plant health for their lives. These are really concrete actions that are taken by governmental institutions, by other partners, and have a real impact in the territory. So I really commend those activities, and we thank you very much for sharing them with us today. Now I'm very pleased to move on to the next speaker, who is Victoria Valencia, who's, as I mentioned, a colleague, but also a person who was the leading force behind the Youth Declaration on Plant Health, which is one of the key legacy for the International Year of Plant Health. So I would like to ask her to give us a bit of a hint of the youth views with regard to this important theme, and tell us a little bit more about this Youth Declaration on Plant Health and how people can still participate and somehow sign off to it. So Victoria, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mirko. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, I guess, if you're in other parts of the world, and good evening. I'm Victoria Valencia, and I will present to you the Youth Declaration that we, on behalf of 26 organizations, drafted. So let me just go ahead and share the screen, and we can get started. Okay, you can see this, right? Okay, great. So, like I said, it is my pleasure to present to you today the International Year of Plant Health Youth Declaration, drafted on behalf of 6 youth organizations across the globe. As one of the legacies of the International Year of Plant Health, the purpose of this declaration is to support the role of plant health in achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development by uniting the voices of those young and young at heart who demand the transformative actions laid out in this declaration be implemented on a worldwide scale. As we know, plants are the foundation for life on Earth, and their protection is essential to avoid further damage to our climate, biodiversity, and overall ecosystem. It is for these reasons that youth have come together and defined 7 thematic areas in order to ensure the sustainability of plant life, which we hope you will take with you and sign our declaration to protect the lives of plants for the benefit of our future. So our first point is the connection of plant health to climate change, food security, and One Health. Through the collection of consistent and accurate data, we call for specific phytosanitary considerations to be included in the One Health approach. We also call for an SDG indicator for plant health to monitor its progress as part of food security and biodiversity related goals. We encourage leaders to develop a unified phytosanitary agenda by 2030. Number 2, biodiversity, sustainable agriculture, and pest management. Through the collection, we advocate for improvement of sustainable agricultural practices such as pest management and coordinated global strategies. We call on the private sector as well as governmental bodies to promote sustainable financial principles in line with the IPCC standards by 2030. Number 3, Indigenous peoples and local communities that offer plant protection strategies. We call for recognition towards Indigenous cultures, languages, and practices, which are essential to safeguarding plant systems. Therefore, we reaffirm the duty of all stakeholders to contribute to preserving Indigenous knowledge systems. Point number 4, people vulnerable to risks and their significance in maintaining plant health. We strongly encourage that women, local communities, and those vulnerable to risks are recognized and supported by the international community to ensure the necessary legislation is enacted to protect their rights and practices regarding natural and plant resource management by 2030. We reaffirm the importance of utilizing seed banks and enhanced protection of underutilized species by encouraging a rights-based approach to plant health by governments. Number 5, global phytosanitary regulations, responsible economic growth, and trade. We highlight the relevance of harmonized international cooperation for phytosanitary measures that help improve the trading of plants and plant products, which encourages safe and sustainable practices. We ask all actors involved in the international trade of plants and plant products to commit to the full application of the international standards for phytosanitary measures. Number 6, strengthened plant health, education capacity building and development. Therefore, we recognize the importance of strengthened education systems on plant health, which allow for a global effort on knowledge transfer and promotion of sustainable agricultural methods. We urge stakeholders to integrate plant health research in all phytosanitary training programs by 2030 while recognizing the differences of each national context. And last but not least, redirecting capital flows, funding, and mobilization of the private and public sectors to help support healthy plants. So, nevertheless, to implement these changes, we demand that capital flows and funding of plant health are increased threefold by 2030 on a worldwide scale. We encourage donors to ensure adequate staffing and availability of equipment. So, on behalf of the International Year of Plant Health Youth Team, we hope you enjoy the declaration, which we'll be sharing in the chat, and encourage you to sign and share it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you very much for sharing more details about the Youth Declaration on Plant Health. This is certainly an important legacy for the year, and thank you for inviting everyone present here and beyond to share the text of the declaration and sign off the declaration. So we really appreciate the youth commitment and somehow the role that you have taken throughout the whole past year, the past 18 months of the International Year. And we would really like to thank you for that. Now we have a few minutes for questions and answers. I actually received a couple of them, so if with your indulgence, I will be reading them out at the moment. We do have one question for Mariangela CIAMPITTI, which reads, the context seemed to be a very successful story. What kind of local engagement did you trigger to develop and spread the importance of plant health? So for you, Mariangela.
So thank you very much. This contest was very attended from several students, and we received the request to work with us and to experience also our work in the field. We will work together to the schools in the next month to perform together the survey, the visual survey on very important priority pests present in Lombardia, in our region, because we are outbreak of Anoplophora of different very important pests. So young people will come with us in the field and also experienced our work, for example, on tree climbing, with the sniffer dogs, with an innovative solution to perform our job on surveillance on plant health. And they also we planned also to introduce them at our office in at the airport to see the import control, because we check all vegetables from different countries arriving to the airport, Milano Malpensa airport. Is a very interesting job, and so some student will perform this job with us for a period. So it's important for us that the young people see and try and experience our work in the field, and not only in a theoric way.
Thank you very much, Mariangela. Indeed, a very, very practical experience on the field. Probably another way to engage the youth that feels the importance of this work by living it on the field. So I think this is a very important approach and one that could be replicated in other instances. I now have a second question for Ambassador ARVELO that relates, to youth engagement in general. We have someone in the floor asking, you anticipated some elements for youth engagement, but what would you suggest as a first step for a young person to approach plant health and agri-food systems from a political perspective? So what is it that a young person is supposed to do to have a voice in this process? So what are the, again, instruments, but also maybe, the practical tips to get engaged in such a political discussion? And I would also couple this with a second question on the matter that came in through the chat box, which is especially in a developing country. So how can we, a young person, do this, especially coming from an economy in transition or developing country? Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you, Mirko, and thank you to the person that asked the question. Let me just say very briefly that the current United Nations system, as it is, as it works today, as it was put up in 1945 and continues to function today, is the monopoly of member states. So this is a reality, and this will not be changing anytime soon, because what would substitute for the governments of the world? And when I say governments, I mean those institutions that have the control over a given territory. A number of experiments have been made, thought experiments, in terms of engaging others. And what happens is that when we talk about getting more input from, in this case, youth and any other actor that is non-governmental, there are some inbuilt obstacles. And the solution to that, in particular to the youth, is to unite. This is easier said than done, but I have to say that no single individual is going to be able to make a change. We have in Spanish a saying that roughly translates as watching one bird fly does not mean that summer has come. So many other things need to happen. And one is that youth, all the young people that are committed and passionate about any subject that they need to bring to the attention of the members of the United Nations, they need to come together themselves. They need to organize. They need to create a front, a movement, so to speak. And one way to do that is to join established institutions and organizations, mechanisms, and other kinds of groupings that can put pressure on government representatives. What we have done, and I go to your second question, even though I'm still answering the first one, is that in the Dominican Republic, being a small developing country, we have, by definition, more complex and urgent problems than other countries that are richer, that have infrastructure in place, that have channels for financing, and that have industry also already working. We have a lot more to do. We have a greater social debt. And that means that paradoxically, developing countries are much more open to engaging with youth, in this case, as a non-governmental grouping. And this is why whenever we have my mission, the mission that I lead here in Rome, has approached our authorities back in Santo Domingo, they have been open to say, well, look, we give you a green light. So connect and cast a net so that we can have voices from the youth participating in meetings such as the ones in CFS, where they are heard, everyone there is taking note, and they can, in fact, influence and impact what comes up later. To finalize my response, I would say again that we are engaged in this ongoing process for creating policy convergence on youth participation in food systems. We just had the Food Systems Summit in New York last month, and that has created a number of avenues, a number of pathways for the youth to partake and to have their voices heard. Anyone telling the youth, I speak again to the youth listening in, anyone who tells you that you are immature or too green or too young, you do not have the experience or the knowledge, and leave things to the politicians and to the elders, they are trying to confuse you. They are trying, if you hear anyone saying these things, they do not want to have your fresh ideas, your innovative voices, your passionate commitment into the equation. So pay no attention to them, get together with other youth, unite and approach the ambassadors and approach the government representatives. We will be giving you an opening. That's my call to action to you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I think I can speak in the word of youth to thank you for your candor, and also for the very good example set by the Dominican Republic in involving youth in several actions that you're organizing in FAO. So we really encourage the youth present to do as you said, and engage with member countries and other stakeholders to actually have their voices heard. I do have one final question for our panel, and particularly for Victoria, with regard to the organizations that worked with you in order to produce the Youth Declaration. So we were wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the youth engagement process into this declaration. Thank you, and over.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So actually, when I started drafting the declaration amongst our colleagues, I was participating on behalf of the IFAD Youth Network. IFAD is the International Fund for Agricultural Development, based in Rome, as well as one of the UN agencies here. But there were also a compilation of a bunch of other organizations. As I mentioned, 26 officially signed the declaration. And I can share with you the link to the full list of members. But for example, there were a lot of organizations in general based on sustainable development, natural resources, stuff like this. So for example, just to give you an example, I mentioned IFAD, of course, the Youth Committee of FAO. There's the Youth and Landscapes Initiative of the what's it called? I just drew a blank really quickly. The Global Landscapes Forum. Within Italy itself, there's the BirdLife Italia. So it's really a compilation of a bunch of different organizations, and they're not limited. So anybody can sign it. You don't have to be of a particular organization that's, I don't know, focused on sustainable development, right? You can be from something related to, I don't know, marketing, like totally irrelevant. But the point is, the purpose is to gather youth from every aspect, to bring everybody together, to raise awareness, and to really broadcast the messages that we're here to relay today. So, like I said, there's 26. I can't list them all for the sake of time, but I will share right here the link, which might have already been shared, but just in case. And you can take a look at this as subscribing organizations. So I hope that's helpful.
Thank you very much, Victoria. And indeed, this clarifies a lot. And we also thank you for sharing the link to the declaration for further sign off. So there is another call to action from this webinar, which is take a look at the Youth Declaration on Plant Health, engage on it, share it widely, and sign it off. Thank you for doing that. I'm now very, very pleased to give the floor to the IPCC officer in charge, Avetik Nersisyan, for his closing remarks. Avetik, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mirko. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to make the closing remark for this extremely interesting side event. As IPCC Secretary Officer in charge, I believe this event aligns excellently with the mission, vision, and goal of IPCC community. Moreover, the new IPCC strategic framework 2020 and 2030 identifies 3 strategic goals, namely, enhance global food security and increase sustainable agricultural productivity, protect the environment from the impact of plant pests, and facilitate safe trade, development, and economic growth. As you have already understood, the IPCC contribution towards agri-food system through its international standard on phytosanitary measures help achieving those strategic objectives. The International Plant Protection Convention, in fact, is the sole standard-setting body on plant health that aims to protect global plant resources and facilitate safe trade. Today, thanks to the insightful presentation we have the pleasure and honor to listen, we learned that use is a key to ensure continuity to our work. We heard from Ambassador ARVELO, who I thank on behalf of the entire IPCC community for his excellent presentation, that agri-food systems are complex structures requiring a multi-stakeholder approach. He also experienced firsthand in his work both as a former chairperson of the Committee of the World Food Security and ambassador, being one of the most passionate advocates in food security with a keen eyes on use. Thanks to his experience and knowledge, Ambassador ARVELO made it very clear that we need to include younger generation in food security matters and plant health as well, since plants are the foundation of life on Earth. Ms. CIAMPITTI's presentation impressed me very much, particularly her ability to display the technical work of the phytosanitary services provided at the local, national level, so well as well, and in a nutshell. She highlighted once again why plant health is so fundamental for agriculture, our environment, our ecosystem, and particularly the contribution any one of us can provide to prevent the introduction of organisms that may harm plants. Also, I would like to congratulate her for the concrete example on how to involve younger generation on plant health. Introducing the plant health course as early as primary school send a strong signal to policymakers and local institutions worldwide. Thank you. Last but not least, the Youth Declaration on Plant Health is the perfect synthesis of this side event. Ms. Valencia showed us that young people are perfectly capable of coming together even during a global pandemic and present us a clear, concise, and concrete set of requests for change in a favor of plant health. We should make every effort to include their suggestions in our daily work and continue fostering occasions for inclusive participation, such as at today's site event. In conclusion, I would like to extend my gratitude to the World Food Forum for granting us this space today, in which I truly feel we initiated a dialogue that will continue growing as it brings together 3 key elements, such as use, plant health, and food security. I would like to leave you with the following words from the opening letter of the Youth Declaration on Plant Health. We must remember that the earth is not given by our parents, but borrowed from future generations. We must therefore work collectively to ensure its sustainability. Thank you very much. Mirko, back to you.
Thank you very much, Avitik. Thanks for this extremely relevant conclusion to today's webinar. It's 1 p.m. and I would like to thank very much all the speakers who are here with us today, as well as all the participants. We all together highlighted how plants are live, and we need to do everything that is possible to protect them. We also need to engage the youth and give the youth the voice they deserve in order to protect plants from invasive alien species, but also from all to contribute to the achievement of the agri-food system transformation that FAO and its members are really driving us towards and supporting with strength. Thank you again for your participation, and I look forward to keeping the conversation open on plant health and its importance for our daily lives. Thank you and over. Bye-bye.